Hello, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. And in today's video, I want to discuss whether or not my life would be seriously improved if I was to start dabbling in the New Age pagan religion known as Wicca. Now, Wicca is something that I used to think was simply practicing witchcraft. I think a lot of people have that same misconception, whereas it turns out that Wicca is actually a formal New Age religion formed in the 1950s by Gerald Gardner, somebody who was into the occult, and Carl Jung. And while witchcraft is simply just somebody who practices in witchcraft and doing magic and spells and so on, stirring a cauldron, I suppose, Wicca is this really nice religion from my point of view, where you get a male and a female, a god and a goddess. So you've got a dualistic worshipping system going on. And there's a really nice respect for folklore practices and animism, things that I'm very much drawn to. And I really like the whole philosophy of do no harm, and the idea of using witchcraft and spells and whatever the rituals are to do good for the world. And I think there's something lovely and simplistic about that really resonates strongly with me. Now, a lot of people are going to say that if you were brought up as a Roman Catholic, and I was baptized, then I shouldn't really be dabbling in Wicca. Now, Wicca did come across as something that might be linked to Satan when I was young. That's the kind of indoctrination I got by growing up as a Roman Catholic. But as I've gotten older, I don't really see the satanic aspect. I know that there is a bit of a link to the occult, and that doesn't sound good. But I haven't investigated too much about the occult either. All I know is that in today's world, as things get more and more robotic and religion starts falling more and more by the wayside, a religion like Wicca, which is a fast-growing religion as far as I'm aware, is kind of like a net good. It's good to get people interested, I think, in the ideas of good and evil, in spirituality, holding on to old folklore practices, and so on. I think it's all a good thing. Now, from what I understand, a lot of pagans don't want to be associated with Wiccans. A lot of pagans probably don't like the fact that Wiccan is a New Age religion, whereas pagan religions, the whole idea of these people who are worshipping Odin, or they're following Nordic gods or Druidic gods or Greek, Roman gods, whatever it is, those people probably don't like the fact that Wiccan is a new religion, whereas they're trying to follow traditions that go back a lot further. They've got a lot more of a long history behind them. And I understand that rift, and I feel like Wiccans probably don't like the types of pagans who condemn them for this. But I'm sure that pagans and Wiccans, if they go to their events, that they can get on fine. Let me know in the comments if you've got any experience with that. But from what I can see, Wiccans are actually still drawing on these very ancient practices, and they're just incorporating it into a new structure. And I think there's a positivity to that. Now, have I had any genuine experiences with Wiccans? And what do I know about Wiccan churches and so on? I don't really know much at all. One thing that I do like about Wiccans compared to pagans, though, is as a man with a very strong anima, a very strong feminine energy, I like the fact that Wiccans do appear to have more females following it. I know that might not be statistically true, but it seems that whenever I come across somebody who is a practicing Wiccan, they tend to be female. I think there are some male Wiccans. I can't remember meeting any. But with pagans, pagans who are following, Greek or Roman or Nordic gods or Druidic gods, I feel like there's more males following that. And I'm somebody who is a bit more drawn to the feminine religions, admittedly. I know that doesn't paint me necessarily in the best light to some of the more warrior-focused pagans who might look at me as somewhat of a cuck. But regardless, I don't really care. In the Catholic Church, one of the criticisms that other Christians have of the Catholic Church is they claim that you're not just worshipping God the Father and God the Son, but you're worshipping the Virgin Mary, and she is put into a sort of a pagan position, almost in a similar way to Wicca, where Catholics are accused of actually going too far and worshipping the Virgin Mary as a sort of feminine energy. I remember when I used to kneel in the pews in the Catholic Church as an 8-year-old and pray to God, the Virgin Mary used to mock me. She was like a feminine voice mocking me. So every time I tried to pray, I couldn't get Mary, the Virgin Mary, she wasn't mocking me in an evil way. It was like a cute laugh. And it wasn't even a mean laugh. She wasn't a mean girl. But regardless, my only experiences with witchcraft, which can have a connection to Wicca, comes from my experiences in Eastern Europe and Turkey, where I have met many witches. I've sometimes missed flights as a result of witches. I have sometimes narrowly avoided drinking sorrel cocktails in Belarus. It all depended on the witch. There are a lot of different witches I've met, and I won't even go into those stories actually. But I haven't met any real Wiccans, and perhaps I should start going to Wiccan churches, or, would there be people who are practicing Catholics or Christians who also indulge in Wicca. I feel like that is definitely a thing. If you're one of those people, let me know in the comments what it's like being a Christian Wiccan. I know a lot of people are going to go and say that you can't be a Wiccan and a Christian, but I feel like in today's world, they're just going to start blending together because, you know, it's basically we've come to a point, I think, at least in the West, where you're either religious or you're not. And a lot of these religions that are opposed to each other, that can kind of get a bit closer to each other now, because it's almost like the real fight is just between religious people and non-religious people, you know. I mean, in the past, here in Australia, it's crazy to think that the great enemies were the Catholics and the Protestants, and they saw themselves as like completely opposed. But, you know, in today's world, with the religious rates just falling, I feel like there could be some sort of an alliance done, and I bet there is a bit of an alliance done. I feel like at the very least, pagans and Wiccans should learn to get on. There's not much of a community spirit in that sense, and I think my spiritual journey and my draw towards religion is very much based on the fact that I am alone all the time and I'm not part of any community, and that's actually not good for the mental health of a human being. And so a lot of the appeal of religion to me, including the Catholic Church or whatever it is about trying to get into some sort of a shared community network rather than a personal thing. But I don't know. Anyway, these are just some thoughts that I've got on whether or not I should start dabbling in Wicca. Once again, I can definitely see the appeal in Wicca when I look at the types of people who are into Wicca. And I can see quite a lot of appeal in the fact that there are a lot more women practicing in Wicca. I think that's a big part of the appeal too. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and I'll see you next time.